This is proof that men are the servant class. Now, these Korean workers were good enough to come over to the United States to provide their expertise, these honest, non-criminal, hardworking men. And they were rounded up by ICE, right? Now, I want you to look at all the people here, all the Koreans. What's the gender you see? Every one of them are male. Every one. Not 90%, they are 100%. They're all male. And that's also why they're being arrested too, right? If they were all female, ICE would never touch them. Because again, racism is misandry. You guys have to understand this. Racism is misandry. Racism is all about attacking the outgroup of men. This is also where the so-called wage gap comes from. Men work, women don't. It's an earnings gap. Now, this is the irony of it. Workers were installing machinery and training U.S. staff. They were training U.S. staff. In other words, U.S. staffs were uneducated, ignorant savages. And trust me, Canada is not far behind. Because men are not fighting their animal instincts. The men up top, they follow their animal instincts of destroying every other guy so that they get access to the opposite sex. So they destroy men's ability to get education and employment, right? And this is what happens. When they need something, they have to go to an outgroup of men, right? Now, the fact that we live in a technological era, we can't function as a society without men who are technologically savvy. They're trained and they're educated, or in technology. And because our leaders are subhuman lizard-brained men, they destroy all that. They harm the men in their society, right? Now, think about this too. These guys, Korea, by the way, is the only place in the world that has a functional MRM. The men of that country actually worked together to protect their rights from the women of their country. Now, that doesn't mean they don't pander, though. Like they're only fighting for traditionalism. This is traditionalism, by the way. The man goes out, he goes far away from home, far away from comfort, from his own culture, just to earn enough money to bribe a woman into his life. So Korea isn't 100% yet. It's just the best. Now, here they interview a man's wife, right? Where is it here? Yeah. Wife of worker detained by U.S. raid. How come she's not detained? Because she's not a worker. She's just there. She's just a leech. She's there to leech off her husband. And they're going to arrest her because this isn't about arresting foreigners. This is about arresting other men. She doesn't have to get her hands dirty. She doesn't have to get her hands dirty at war, and she doesn't have to get her hands dirty at work. So she doesn't get arrested. That's how it works. Okay? So, of course, they get outraged over this, but they haven't changed the real issue. They didn't change the issue. Guys have to be taught from a very young age, before they hit puberty, of what our instincts are, how destructive they are, and how to fight it. That's what the MRM's main goal should be. Getting hold of men when they're young and teaching them what their instincts are and how to fight them. They got to show historically what happens when men follow their lizard brains. My biggest worry was our parents worry about their younger brother who was detained. If their parents were so concerned, they wouldn't have shipped him off. They would have said, son, stay in the country where you're safe with us. No, his parents said, get your ass out of the house, get working for us, get working for your mother. That's what they did. So men have to gain total awareness first of what's going on before we can even start to fight this. Now, our rights being stripped away starts at our own psychology. If these men were really fully aware, they would never show up at the States. They would say, look, my sister's sitting on her ass. I'm going to do the same. Anyway, this is the point I'm making. Okay. Men are the servant class. Proof. The earnings gap is real because of this. Right? We'll end it here.